So as you know, in our videos, we like to show you all around Montana, but this week we're going to take you on a road trip with us. We're going to go north of the border, straight north of where we live here in the Flathead Valley, and show you Canada. We're going to show you the differences, some of the fun parts, some of the beautiful parts, and stick around to the end because there's a couple things that you don't want to miss. I may or may not have a run-in with a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman, and we're going to show you something they have in Canada that is way better than anything in the United States. So stick around, stay to the end, and check it out. Here we go. So when we took off last week, I went to get gas, and I just wanted to give you guys a comparison. It is the beginning of September here in Montana, and we are paying $4.09 for gas. And once we get up to Canada, I'll show you the difference. It's pretty huge. But we took Highway 93 north, and you go up along. It's a beautiful drive. I've done videos about this area before. The only town you hit on the way once you leave Whitefish is Eureka here. And this is downtown Eureka. And again, if you want to look back, I did a video last year all about Eureka, and I go over this town in depth. I look at the golf courses, the reservoir, everything about Eureka. But as you can see, the downtown is still very old-fashioned, very small. If you're looking for a kind of quiet hometown place, Eureka is still that place. Eureka's really been hurt in the last few years with all of the shutdowns because of the coronavirus. The Canadian border that you're going to see here in a minute was totally shut down for 2 years. But as we get up to the border here, you can see there's many people are now using it again. When we came up here last fall, it had just opened again, and we wanted to go up and see some friends, and it was just a ghost town. We were the only car around on either side coming or going, but a lot of the restrictions have been lifted now, especially in the US. Canada's still a little more strict. We have to download some app that then ties into your passport. But anyway, if you want to Google what you need to do to get in, it's all online. Switched over the speedometer there to match the kilometers, and so I knew what speed limit I was going, but as you will see later on, that came back to haunt me a little bit. But just coming through the border is kind of cool. Everything changes. The signs are different. As you can see here, it's not mileage, it's everything's in kilometers, so it looks a lot further. But as you head towards those places, those tick off a lot faster in your car than it does when you're looking at miles. So when it says 50 kilometers, it doesn't take nearly as long as it does when you're doing mileage here in the US. But I just like all their signs are a little different. They have different, like, huge elk on their signs here, and it's kind of fun to see the differences when you get up here. And this right here, so we stopped and got something to eat, and I ordered a Coke, and as you can see, there is no ice. Canada borders the North Pole, for God's sake, but they don't put ice in their drinks, so I don't know if they have an ice shortage up there or what their reasoning is, but just beware if you're heading up to Canada and you order a Coke or whatever you order to drink, they don't put ice in it. Another weird thing about going to Canada. So about 20 miles north of the Eureka border, you come to this T. We're still on Highway 93. You turn left and head toward Cranbrook, and this is the beginning of Lake Koocanusa right here to our left. Over here to the right, this is the Kootenay River that fills the reservoir and gets the name Koocanusa because it's in Canada and the USA. So I know I've showed this to you on other videos, but that's the beginning of it. So now we're up in Canada getting gas, and as you can see, the prices are much different here. It looks very cheap, but actually that's $1.48 per liter, and there's 3.79 liters in a gallon. So if you do the math and take that times $1.48, it comes out to $5.60 a gallon. So much more expensive up in Canada. If you're wondering, we were paid $4.09 in the United States, and it's $5.60 in Canada. So get your gas in the US and hope you have enough to get back. So continuing north on Highway 93, you come up right before you get to Fairmont Hot Springs. You go past, these are called Hoodoos. They're right along the highway, and there's also trails back up in there that we stopped and did one time, and it's kind of cool. Pretty steep in some areas, as you can see, but kind of a cool thing to see along the road like that. They've just been caused by millions of years of erosion, and that's what you get. And like I said, right after that, you come upon Fairmont Hot Springs, which is a big resort area. They've got a few golf courses here. Obviously, they've got the hot springs. There's a huge resort clubhouse that you can stay in. There's all kinds of condos and places to stay all over the property. And it's just from here all the way up to Radium Hot Springs, which I'll show you in a minute. It's kind of a resort area. We come upon Windermere Lake. It will be on your left, the town of Invermere. And it's just, like I said, this is the big resort area in southern British Columbia, and it's kind of busy during the summer. A lot of people in Canada and from the US come up here to hang out. And as you can see, it's just a beautiful area through here. This is actually the town of Radium Hot Springs, and we're going to go through. We're still on Highway 93, but now we're headed a little more to the northeast and headed towards Banff. But this is the town of Radium Hot Springs, and then beyond the little town here, you'll go through a canyon that's coming up here in a second that takes you to the actual hot springs, which are these pools that are right up against, they've built them right up against the mountain where the hot water comes out and fills these pools, and it's just a cool place to see, cool place to hang out. If you're ever up in this part of the world, you should definitely take some time to stop here at Radium. We didn't on this trip, but we have in the past. When we came up here when our daughter was younger, we stopped with our friends and we all went swimming in the hot springs. But these canyons through here and just the mountains from here all the way up to Banff are just incredible. They're a lot different than the mountains in Montana because most of them are, they go above the tree line, so you get the big exposed rock faces, where in Montana we have some mountains like that, but most of them, unless you're in Glacier Park, are tree covered. But the beauty up here is incredible. Once you get through the town of Radium and past the hot springs here, you're in Kootenay National Park, which is obviously a national park in Canada. A little different from our national parks, whereas there isn't as many buildings, and it's pretty wide open. You do have to pay if you're going to camp or stay here, but there to your right, you can see in here in a second the little pool, or the pool that's right there up against the mountains, and they have others indoors there and locker rooms and showers, and just a great place to check out. But there's the mountains I was talking about, and as we get closer to Banff, they'll become more pronounced and just incredible mountains and beauty. One time when we were coming down this road, we came across a moose that was just standing right alongside the road, so you kind of have to be careful when you get in these areas. You can see they've fenced it off to keep the animals away from the road, and I think when we did it, it was before they had those fences up, so they've poured a ton of money into fencing that off. But just the scenery up here is something that everybody should see once in their lifetime. So if you're ever in Montana, if you live in Montana, you should definitely make a trip up here to Canada and check this out. So a little bit past this point, the road turns into, or dumps out onto Highway 1, which is the Trans-Canada Highway that goes from east to west all the way across the country. And unfortunately, I was going a little fast, and I have to say the unmarked police cars in Canada are incredible. You could not tell that was a police car at all as I passed him until his dash lights came on. But as you can see, they're very nice in Canada, and he just gave me a warning and told us to slow down and enjoy our trip, but gave me a little scare there for a moment that our trip was going to cost more than I had hoped. But right here we're coming into Banff, and again, Banff is known for the mountains, the Canadian Rockies that surround it, and it's just a spectacular beauty, scenery. You just can't say enough about it. And even this video doesn't do it close to justice and just to show how nice it is in Banff. But I tried. But everywhere you look, this whole town is just surrounded by these huge mountains. There's hiking trails all over. There's a tram up to the top of one of the mountains, and you can either hike up, hike down. You have the famous Banff Springs Hotel. Downtown Banff is incredible. Tons of restaurants and bars and places to go. Another thing I wanted to show you here in Canada, it's so wide open and big open spaces in Canada, but yet you come into these towns and they build the houses right on top of one another. They're just packed together, and I've always found that kind of odd. Even here in Banff, you walk into the residential area and the houses are just right on top of one another. There's no space. Even though Canada has more space than probably any other country in the world, they pile the houses together. But after we left Banff, we headed over to Calgary, which I've always loved Calgary. In fact, of all the cities I've been to in North America, I would say Calgary is the nicest big city. It's clean, everybody's friendly, it's just pretty modern. You got the little Space Needle Tower here in Calgary as well as like the one in Toronto, but just a great city. If you're into big cities, Calgary's definitely one you want to check out. So the full tour of Canada wouldn't be complete without a trip into one of their grocery stores. I love going into these stores because everything they have is different from where we are, and especially the chips. I think Canada is the testing ground for chips before they come down to the US. Check this out, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So as you know, we are ahead of Canada in a lot of things. We have way more people, we have a bigger economy, a bigger military, but I have to say Canada is light years ahead of us in potato chip development. They have more flavors up here, and every time we go up here, they come up with new ones. I don't know who it is that comes up with these different flavors, but a lot of them are pretty good. In fact, this is always a stop that we have to make when we come up to Canada. We got to check out what the new advancements are in the potato chip world, because Canada is ahead of the game. I always tease my friends that even though we're now better than them in hockey, they still have us in the potato chip front. So if you enjoy snacking on your road trip and you're up in Canada, you will not be disappointed in the wide selection of different flavors of chips you can get here in Canada.
Thank you for watching our video. Please call, text, or email for more information, and don't forget to watch our other videos about Montana.